सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
You're listening to Bare Knuckle Bhakti Shorties on the Bhakti Recovery Podcast with Jiva G, coming at you every Monday with a little spiritual something. Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome, welcome. So, another Monday, and I am still at the Govardhan Eco Village, and it's break time. Been having some good Bhakti Recovery Group meetings out here. Really nice, very, very personal, and we're really, diving into the Coda steps, and it really speaks to me. I've been through the AA steps thoroughly. I've been through the NA steps thoroughly. I've been through the ACA steps thoroughly. The one program I have not thoroughly gone through as far as working those steps formally is the Coda program. This is my next venture. I mean, we're kind of going through the book now, and it's so prevalent to the Bhakti that I'm learning here, It's so interesting how no matter what it is that I'm reading at the BRG, it correlates perfectly for what's being taught in Kastuba's class, for example, or what Raghunath is talking about, or what Radhana Swami speaks about, and how that all just fits so perfectly together. Seeking that love, seeking that true love and what that means. And when we're looking at it in a material way, what we do as codependents to get that approval, how we want to please, but who are we pleasing? Trying to please ourselves by pleasing others. And in the end, no one gets pleased, not even Krishna. But through bhakti and through working these steps, we can really learn how to transcend that hankering. We all have that God-sized hole that we're just filling with everything that we can possibly think of. When I first got here, my head was in for a spin. I mean, nothing new, right? My head is always somehow in for a spin. There's always some, I'm the most non-static person that I could possibly imagine. So my head just went for a complete spin. And I'm kind of grounding now, it's kind of like when you get off that carousel. I've gotten off the carousel. And all this stuff is starting to come together, all these things, like stuff that you hear from a lecture or things that you hear from, what I've heard from my Guru Maharaj, through studying some of the, some of the scriptures and reading the steps, actually, how those things start making sense as one little blinder peels back after the other. It's so fascinating watching that, actually just kind of watching myself having my eyes opened. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I can tangle myself into these little teeny knots. And these knots are painful and really hard to get out of. And if I'm not aware in my program, if I'm not in line with my higher thinking, I'll all of a sudden find myself there, tied up in little knots, wondering how the hell I got there. And better yet, how the hell am I going to get out of this? And I'm going to say self-will run riot, and I'm also going to say absolute egocentric way that I can be. Now, don't misunderstand when I say egocentric. I don't get myself in knots because I'm just concerned. People think, oh, egocentric, that means, arrogant or whatever. No, it just means, I can't even think of the word in English. Selbsüchtig in German, which means like addicted to yourself, just attached to your own mind. And it ties me in knots and it thrashes me. If I don't look out of that, like we were talking about in Kastuba's class, how the story about Brahman and how he's like, how he realizes that that he's not the only Brahman. There's hundreds and thousands of others doing creating all life existence in all these other 100,000 universes. And he's not the only one. And that's kind of how it is for us, or for me at least. It's like, if I'm, Raku always says like, don't you know who I am? That. And if I'm trying to think my way into some sort of, I don't know, I would say, if I'm trying to intellectualize what's going on and rely on my quote unquote instincts, and I'm not talking about the instincts that are connected to a higher consciousness. I'm talking about my conditioned instincts. I'm talking about my material conditioned instincts. Does that make sense? The conditioning that I've had and bringing that back into codependency, bringing that back into Maya, bringing that back into all of that stuff. If I am reacting and interacting to my emotional conditioning, my material conditioning, my physical conditioning, if I'm going through life reacting on those and interacting just on those, I'm going to tie myself up in those little knots. But if I take those and I spiritualize those, there's a good chance the knots are not going to be as tight, they're not going to be as often, and they're not going to be as desperate. And I think that's sort of what I'm uncovering at the moment. And it's really nice. Again, there was a very painful, tying myself in knots. And it's just my brain. My brain is literally a pest. I don't remember who said it. Was it Rupa Goswami? I don't remember. I'm sorry. Please don't. I'm not going to misquote, so I'm not going to say anything. He said he wakes up in the morning and the best thing to do is to beat your mind 1,000 times with a shoe. And that's true for me. My head will bring me in places that just no one should be. And it will tell me things that I shouldn't be hearing. And it will lie to me. And it will just be based on either my insecurities or my low self-esteem or my arrogance or my insensitivity, whatever it is. But if I think that if I'm interacting and reacting on all my material conditionings, I'm like a baby elephant stomping my way through life, like killing flowers and ants and bees and everything in my way because I'm ignorant. And and I feel that way. I feel that way when I'm around my guru. I feel like I'm this big, clumsy baby elephant that is stupid as heck. I don't know if that makes sense. When I look at some people who are just so eloquent and elegant and caring and gentle, it's wonderful. And I see myself just stomping around, And I'm not saying this to put me down. I'm saying this to be aware of it's my awareness. When I look at what, true devotional service is, and I look at true Krishna consciousness, from what I understand at this point in my life, I understand that I'm not there. And that I understand that there's a lot I need to learn in order to tread that gracefully. So I have work to do. I think this is going to be a really short shorty. I'm going to leave it at that because that's all I got to say today. I love you guys. And I would encourage everyone to come and do this wisdom training. It's pretty incredible. Even me, like the ADHD, I don't like to label myself that, but I don't have any other label for it, so I'll take that one. It's really hard for me to concentrate, but I've been learning so much good stuff, and Kastuba has been doing a brilliant job of presenting it to me and to everyone, of course. Anyway, you guys have a great week. We got a show coming up on Thursday. I'm not sure what we got lined up. I've got some pre-recordings, but I might be doing some interviews here. So if anyone's listening and here in India with me and you want to get interviewed, just grab me at the Prasad area and we'll set up an interview. How about that? All right, guys, have a great week. Love you all. Haribo. Oh, right. Don't forget to like and follow. Follow. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the Monday Shorties. Don't forget to check out our full-length episodes on Thursdays. If you like what you heard, spread the word. Peace out.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.